Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Kat's Tiny Kitchen. I'm so glad you came to join me today. Today's recipe is going to be broccoli cheese soup. It's going to be more on the line of a bisque than a soup because we are still dealing with a lot of textures in food that Mike can't handle. We've had to get creative on how to get flavors in food without actually having those ingredients in the food for him to eat. So with that being said, we're going to get going on this recipe, and I'm so glad you came to join me. So let's go, let's get cooking. So I'm finishing up my prep work, and the last thing I have to do is get the broccoli broken down so that I can get it in small pieces and get it cooked so that we can turn it into more of a bisque than a broccoli soup. So here we go. And that's it. Getting ready to put it in the pot. So we're going to cover the ingredients today for the broccoli soup that I'm going to make for Mike. And here we go. I have 2 cups of vegetable stock and 2 cups of beef stock. We have 1 whole onion. We're not going to cut this up because he is having texture difficulties, so we're going to put this in the pot along with 1 carrot and 1 stalk of celery. And what I'll do is when I cook everything, once I'm done cooking, I'll go ahead and pull all of this out. That way he doesn't have the texture but the flavor's there. And then we're going to have 1 tablespoon of garlic, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper is going to go into this. So we'll go ahead and get this going, put everything together. Oh, and the star of the show, of course, is broccoli. I'll cover the other ingredients when we get to that point for the cream part of the soup. But right now, let's go ahead and get this pot of soup going. So to the pot, we're going to add all of our ingredients: the onion, the carrot, the celery, garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add the broccoli in. Something here to get it out of there. Add the broccoli. And then the last ingredient for this part of the recipe is the stock. So now what I'm going to do is bring this to a boil, and I'm going to let it simmer for quite a while so that I make sure that all of the vegetables, all of the broccoli, all of the carrots and celery and the onion get cooked well. And then we will start with the second part of our recipe. Okay, so while we got our veggies going, I'm going to show you the ingredients for the second part of the recipe. And minus the stock that the vegetables are cooking in, what I'm going to do with that once I get it done is I'm going to strain the stock, pull out the bigger vegetables and leave the broccoli, and then we'll take it from there. But to start out with, we're going to start with, I have 1/3 cup of flour. I have 1/3 cup of butter. I have 1 cup of half and half. And I have 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And we will be back in just a moment to get this going. Thank you. Our veggies are done. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take them out of the pan and put them in here. I'm going to take out the onions and the celery and the carrots, of course. And then all I have left is the broccoli and the broth. And I'm going to use some of the broth to make the soup, of course. So I just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. Quickly. Don't want these things in because of texture. So get those out first. Not too worried about losing some of the broccoli because there's a lot here. There's a lot of texture going on for Mike. So if I lose a little bit, I lose a little bit. Oop. Come on. Okay, so there's that. We're gonna get another container to put these in over here on the side. And now I'm gonna work on getting the broth and the broccoli out of here. We still have some celery in here. I don't want that. Okay. That is a lot of broccoli. Okay, we're done with that. Well, I can pull this up out of the stock and use this pan again. Let the broccoli drain in the pot on the side. And there we have that. So our next step is to get the soup going. I'll be right back. So I got Maggie out to finish this recipe off. And she's just about hot enough for me to put my butter in. So I'm going to put my third cup of butter in. And get that melted. I'm going to grab a whisk here because I'm going to need to whisk this a little bit. Butter's melting nicely. I've been working very diligently on getting something that Mike can eat that's going to be nutritional and a little high in protein. We'll get some protein out of the beef stock and maybe the butter. I'm not sure. I don't think the butter has any protein in it. I have to check my container. Yeah, there is no protein in the dairy, but it's good source of fat for him, because we got to get his weight up and keep it up for when he starts radiation and chemo, which is coming soon. So now that I've got my butter all melted, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of flour, and I want to cook this a little bit before I start doing anything else to it. So I want to get this cooked so we can cook the flour flavor out of it, make a roux here, give it a few minutes, turn the heat down a little bit because I don't want it to burn, I just want it to cook. Just keep whisking. make him another dish that's really weird, but he can tolerate it, that I will probably be showing you in the near future. And that should be enough. Now that we got that cooked a little bit, we're going to go ahead and start adding the chicken stock. A little bit at a time because I don't want lumps. And as you can see, as soon as it hits, it thickens up really quick. We'll just keep whisking this until it gets smooth again. Perfect. Looks like I may be adding more than a cup of milk because this is really thick tonight. Made his gravy the other night this way and it turned out really good. Now that I got the rest of the stock in there, I'm going to stir this in really good. Get it hot enough so that I can add my cheese, because that's what I'm going to add next. This is looking good. So I'm going to put in my cup of cheese. I'm going to get that melted. Come on, melt. It's getting there. Can't really, we've not tried this before, so we just need to keep stirring until the cheese gets melted enough. It's pretty melted. I'm going to go ahead and add the milk now, or the half and half. It's a cup of half and half. This is looking pretty smooth and creamy. There's still some cheese that needs to melt in here. I'm going to add, I don't think I'm going to add all of the broccoli. I think I'm just going to add part of it because I'm afraid it might be too much for him. So I'm going to put about half of the broccoli in here. And it's not a big deal because I can freeze this broccoli and use it in something else. See, that's a lot of broccoli right there, half of it. That was the total broccoli that I cooked was 2 small florets that I got on sale at the grocery store. So now that we've got that in there, I'm going to taste it. It needs a little more salt, and the cheese isn't melting very well, so it's not all the way melted yet. So I'm adding about a teaspoon of salt. I'm not going to measure this out. I'm just going to put it in my hand. Stir that in. Get my dishes, dirty dishes out of the way here. I'm ready to wash up. Looks like we may have to add a little more cream to this. Or half and half. I think I'm going to add a little more half and half. So. I got another half a cup here that I'm going to add, and I think that'll also help the cheese melt a little bit better. I want it to be smooth and creamy and something that it can swallow without having to worry too much about the little bits. So once this is heated through, I'm going to get my immersion blender out, and I'm going to hit it with the immersion blender to break that broccoli down a little bit more. And then we should be good. And this one more taste test. Oh yeah. Yeah, I needed that salt. I bought this immersion blender a few years ago to do some kind of stuff like this, and it turns out I use this immersion blender a lot. It works great for making mayonnaise and salad dressings and whipping up eggs, beating eggs, and this. So I'm going to hit it with this with the immersion blender and try and get that all broken down. It'll be more of a creamy soup than chunky with any chunks in it. So here we go. That's good enough. It's broken down a little bit. I pumped a lot of air in there. I'm not sure I really wanted to do that, but that broke the broccoli down just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this simmer now for about 10 or 15 more minutes, just to let it finish off, and we'll come back and look at it in a couple minutes. It is ready. So all we have left to do is plate it up and take a picture. I'd like to thank you all for coming to visit me today, and I can't wait to dig into this because it does taste very, very good. So you all have a great evening, and we'll see you on the next one.